So you've made it to pity, an unfortunate circumstance, but who should you choose with your hard-earned pity coins? How's it, everybody? Celtic Link here. We got another Dokkan Battle video for you here today. We are answering that tough question. Who should you choose with your hard-earned pity coins? We are in the midst of the second largest celebration of 2025, the Global Dokkan Campaign, and of course they have returned the LR pity coin system, and with this, for 2,500 stones spent, you will earn 500 pity coins and be able to exchange them for one of the 4 LR characters. And I know many of you have either met pity or are getting pretty close and will probably meet it by the end of the celebration. And you might be wondering who is worth your coins. If you already picked up all the units, then hey, consider this a question of who is worth your coins when they return. But let's go ahead and let's jump in. So we're basically going to rank the order of characters you should prioritize with your coins. Now, obviously, if you have one of the units that are higher on the rank, look down at the unit that comes next. So let's start with the obvious, right? The number one choice. There should be no question about this. I don't think anybody has any qualms calling this guy the number one character in the game. He is probably far and away the best unit that has released turn 1. Right? A lot of characters have like some kind of crazy build that they need. This dude is just doing it. I mean, he does have a bit of build, 4 turns of build, but like he's still doing what he does at turn 1, right? We're talking about a character that can come out swinging at 50 to 60 million, countering some of the most common supers in the game, right? Key Blast supers and guaranteed counters if you're below 70%, which is very easy to do in a lot of these newer fights because they hit so hard. But he also has tons of guard, 50% damage reduction, tons of additional super attacks. Literally the only thing he's missing is defense on super, but that's easily covered by several other key members of his team who provide him defense through their super attack effects, which allows him to make up for that loss in defense from his own super attack. So, I mean, really, he's near invincible. I mean, basically the only fights that could possibly give him trouble is a fully built up Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta from the special battle, or a fully built up Rose Super if you don't counter it. Otherwise, he's going to be fine in most cases. But again, with both of those fights, he has a 70% chance of just straight up countering the super to begin with. Otherwise, the only real major fight he would struggle in is Festival of Battles, and that's just because he has no defense, right? And so he has no defense stacking. His offense is great, although he might be a detriment to the rest of the team because of that. But his offense is great, so he could be helpful in clearing those fights depending on your setup. So I will definitely say that even with those issues, he is still one of the best units in the game. So if you have achieved pity and you have not pulled Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta and you've already done your 44% ticket summon, he's your guy. Use your coins, grab him now. If you've done your 44% ticket summon and you haven't gotten him, grab him now. Even though there is a second chance of another Super Saiyan, another ticket summon at the end of the celebration, I mean, hey, you could use it again, get another LR you don't have, or take a shot and get him at 69%. Either way, I think your coins would be best used for him, even if you haven't used the second 50 multi yet. So he is your number one choice. Number 2 choice might actually surprise a lot of people, but I believe the number 2 choice to get is Rosé. He is also a carnival, so if you pulled Gogeta, you pulled everybody else, then Rosé is your second best choice. While his leader skill is limited, I mean, I feel that as a villain, he's going to slide a lot more into a lot of people's teams. All he needs to be able to be on is on a general extreme class team, or have at least some Future Saga allies around. And even for like his guard, he only needs one Future Saga ally next to him, which, I mean, his best partners are going to cover that anyways, right? If you're on his own team, right, the other Rose swapped into Zamasu, if AGL Rose, right, one of the clones, or Int merge Zamasu, like he's got so many options to very, very easily cover that portion of his passive. And then as long as he's on a extreme turn, then he's going to be fine. So really, I do think he is the second, just like some of the other units here, like the Blue Boys, for example. He is stacking attack infinitely, and one thing I like about him is his support, 60% attack to the rest of the teams. This is really helpful on a lot of extreme teams, right? Because as you'll notice, many of the extreme teams right now are kind of lacking in big damage numbers. This extra 60% from him does really help with that. And of course, if you are running a major super bosses team, especially if you're using any of the clones, this attack and defense 80% from him is very, very helpful for those Goku Black allies. It's the difference between tanking some hits and not for several of the units. So he is honestly your probably second best choice here. Now, if you've pulled Gogeta, if you've pulled Rosé, or you prefer the Dokkan Fest side of things, I believe your third choice should be Omega Shenron. Omega Shenron is a great Dokkan Fest lead for basically every villain. Inhuman Deeds, Power Absorption, DT bosses, this covers every major villain. Inhuman Deeds covers the Grade 8 Vegetas, it covers Frieza's, it covers Goku Blacks, it covers Baby. Power Absorption covers the Cells, the Boos. GT bosses, of course, covers the other Shadow Dragons and Omegas, as well as Baby as well, and Super 17. Like, it is literally the perfect villain lead skill. Like, and with the sub leads being to Shadow Dragon Saga, Worldwide Chaos, Battle of Fate, again, this covers every major villain. Almost all Friezas are on Battle of Fate, except for Tournament of Power Friezas. So that's a non-issue. Worldwide Chaos covers the Cells, as well as some of the Shadow Dragons. And of course, the Shadow Dragons are also covered by Shadow Dragon Saga. The only thing not covered by here, I think, is basically the androids. Like, that's it. Otherwise, every other villain is covered here, and I do like it. It is such a great leader skill. Not only that, he is also buffing his own defense, right? Stacking defense for 4 turn, and he has an AoE, which is very helpful in a lot of these new fights that have multiple enemies, as well as doing what Omegas do best. He has debuffs through his super attack effects, as well as a domain that not only buffs himself, but increases damage dealt to super class enemies, specifically those on Earth Protecting Heroes, Fuse Fighters, and GT Heroes categories. So, and these are all pretty common super class characters for bosses, right? Like Blue Goku, 30% extra damage you're doing to him on top of the extra 25% that the villains are getting from his domain. So he is honestly your third pick. And I mean, to be completely honest, right, if it was between Rose or Omega, you could go either way. I would say it would really depend on what your box is looking like, right? If you don't have that many of the future allies to work well with Rose, then Omega's your choice. If you have them, then I do think it is worth going Rose. Going with Rose. Not only are their animations really good, they are. He's a little bit stronger than Omega. While Omega provides defense, right, Rose provides a lot of the offense that many of the villain teams don't have. So it's a push and pull, and honestly, I would say it's up to personal preference. Your final choice, right? If you had everyone, of course, that leaves the LR Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan Goku, and Vegeta left over that have the active skill fusion into Vegito. Like the Rose, they are stacking attack infinitely. I do like them for their defense raise on Super. For their allies, this is really helpful, right? This is one of those things that I'm talking about, right? Like running a Gogeta, having having this support here for him for the Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta. If he is in slot 1 and Gogeta is in slot 2, you've now given Gogeta some 60% defense raising on his super attack effect. So this is really good for him. And he can easily hold down slot 1 too, minus dodge canceling events, right? Which we'll get to that in a second, right? He has up to 60% chance of evasion, depending on whether you are on a Future Saga or Super Ally team, right? So up to 60% chance to evade, along with up to 60% damage reduction, along with as long as you have either all allies super or a future ally next to him. Both conditions very easy to fulfill. He will have an additional 20%, so 80% chance to dodge and 60% damage, or yeah, 70% damage reduction. So I mean that's good. I mean, he can pretty much hold down slot 1 in almost every major situation, barring missing that 20% chance to dodge in some cases, but otherwise he's going to be good. Now in those dodge canceling events, of course, he has this ability here to bring out Vegito. For the active skill, it will raise his attack 300% temporarily, so it's going to deal a big hit, as well as buff himself by 20%, and then give himself a the nullification on attacks guaranteed to hit, basically making it possible to dodge in dodge canceling events, just for him though. But that makes up for those events where he can't. Of course, they do have the Vegeta side of things, who who is a lot more defensive, right? He works really well as an offensive character in the 3rd slot if you choose to use his active skill here, right? His active skill actually, Vegeta's active skill, instead of buffing himself, actually buffs allies here, which is really nice. It gives Future Saga allies 15%. So if you're running and then additional 10 for bond of parent and child. So I mean, if you're running a mostly Future Saga team, then of course the Vegeta buff is really helpful for the team. He stops raising attack at this point, but he does provide some excellent support. And right, if you need a good defensive character for the turn, he will tank pretty much every hit in the game, even in Festival battles towards the end without that extra build-up, right? He's actually got some pretty insane defense, even more so if you use his active skill. So he is your 4th choice, right, using Dokkan Fest coins. Remember that each one of these will cost you 500 coins each, which means a total of 2,500 stones need to have been spent across either banner, right? And this is the thing that's so great about this system, is that it's across all 4 banners, right? So if you have 300 Dokkan Fest coins and 200 Carnival coins, you can exchange these Carnival coins into Dokkan Fest Carnival or Dokkan Fest pity coins, and then exchange for the Dokkan Fest character you want, and vice versa for the Carnival character you want, right? Just exchange your 300 here to here, and now you've got your 500 to pick Gogeta or Rosé. That's how it is. And if you don't need either, right, you've gotten all 4, you don't want to use your coins, you can transfer them to whichever coin you feel you need the most for later on. But again, in order to achieve this, you need to have spent 2,500 stones or less, depending on how your box is filled out. You may have spent closer to 1,700. If you're achieving pity, I would say that, right, if you have a mostly rainbowed box, you probably are hitting it close to actually 1,700 with the amount of characters you probably have traded in up to that point. That's about what I'm at, surprisingly. And so I just wanted to throw that out there, that it may not have been fully 2,500, but you're probably getting pretty close. So again, number 1 pick should be Gogeta. Number 2 is either Rose or Omega, and then your last pick should be the Goku and Vegeta. I think while they do have a great leader skill, they are probably going to be the least, I don't want to say the least useful, but over some of the others, you're probably going to need them more as we proceed throughout the rest of the year. And then, of course, Gogeta just being straight up the best unit in the game, it should be no question why he is your first choice. So, all right, with that, we are actually going to go ahead and transfer over to game here, and we're going to pick up our copy of the pity unit. So I have, let's see. Okay, I actually went way too far trying to get Omega. I do need a copy of him. We didn't really get him when we wanted to, so we had to pity him. So we are going to pity one copy of Omega Shenron for us. So really, really happy about that. We did need this copy, so... Guys, that is it for our video. If you like the video, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you have not already. And in the comments down below, let us know, are you close to pity? Did you pity already? If so, who did you get? Do you plan on getting the same unit we did with Omega, or are you going after Gogeta because you missed out on him? Let us know in the comments down below. Otherwise, guys, as always, thanks for watching, and aloha.